And now, here on AMTV, a very special compilation, the entirety of ITV Creates 2019.
Get ready.
Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review, the show where we have a good look and chat about the various television idents that we have come to know and love over the years. And for this instalment, we're taking a look at the most up-to-date idents on The Other Side. It's the January 2019 section of ITV Creates. ITV Creates is a brand new initiative that was launched by the station at the start of 2019, the premise being that each week a brand new artist's interpretation of the ITV idents will be shown to viewers, not only giving one of the hugest varieties of ident sets for audiences to enjoy, but also to allow artists to get their names out and express their individual talents and creativity. It's a move I'm all for, and for today we're looking at 4 sets of idents that made up the month for ITV. Now let's take a look at the first of these sets, from artist Ravi Deepres.
Well, first off, let me start by wishing you all a very happy new year. And you may have noticed we've a fresh new look here on ITV. New year, new us. And every week in 2019, we'll be inviting a different artist to put their own stamp on our channel, starting with this one from Ravi Deepres. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now let's kick things off this morning with a trip to the wilds of Peru to meet the penguins. Kane is on the warpath as he seeks revenge for Matty's attack, but he may just get more than he bargained for in an hour-long episode of Emmerdale, tonight at 7. And I'm pretty sure the Yorkshire Dales are about to feature right now on ITV, as we join Julia Bradbury and Ore Aduba to count down Britain's favourite walks, Top 100. Well, the great movies just keep coming here on ITV, and it continues this weekend when Eddie Redmayne stars in the network premiere of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Saturday night at 5:35. But now, live from Cheltenham this New Year's Day, Ed Chamberlain presents coverage of ITV Racing. Kane is on the warpath as he seeks revenge for Matty's attack, but he may just get more than he bargained for in an hour-long episode of Emmerdale, tonight at 7. Now though on ITV, Harry Hill's here to guide us through another collection of camcorder carnage in You've Been Framed. Well, the great movies just keep coming here on ITV, and it continues this weekend when Eddie Redmayne stars in the network premiere of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Saturday at 5:35. But now we enter the bizarre world of Harry Hill to find out what weird and wonderful things will be going into his alien fun capsule.
Simple and sleek to kick off this new era. So with Ravi Deepres' work here, we are presented with 5 variants that are stylish, stunning to look at in HD, and simple enough to capture the intrigue of an audience, without necessarily having to do much else. The whole movie projector style works well for the huge ITV logo that eats up most of our television screens, and it's fun to try and spot or identify what is being projected onto it. Personally, I think I would have liked a bit more variation between these 5 idents, but as the set to kick off ITV Creates as a whole, it does do its job pretty well. Now let's move on to our next set from our next artist, which is Sutapa Biswas.
Well, good morning, and as a new week dawns, we have another fresh new look here on ITV with resident artist Sutapa Biswas taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, time to join all the team to kickstart a brand new week on Good Morning Britain.
Colin and his team start surveillance on the key suspect as our drama based on a true story, Manhunt with Martyn continues tonight at 9. Now on ITV, The Jeremy Kyle Show. Martyn stars in three-part drama Manhunt, which continues tonight at 9, based on the true story of Levi Belfield's crimes. Now on ITV, Holly and Philip return to This Morning.
There's plenty of big drama in the little village of Emmerdale this week as a certain someone makes her return to the soap 17 years after she left. Find out who's back at 7 tonight. Now though, the new year brings another new episode of The Chase. So which famous character makes the return to Emmerdale tonight after 17 years absence? You'll find out here before 7:30.
A definite winner here for me. This set is so gorgeously coloured, layered and designed, I could literally pause any of the frames and just stare at it all day. We have tons upon tons of materials, all laid out and placed expertly by Biswas to create this stunning rendition of the ITV logo. Honestly, just look at this, you can't not be captivated by it. If I had to give any criticism, or something I would have done myself, I would have loved to have seen more sections of the overall piece being built. We get the briefest of glimpses at parts of the layers being added or tweaked to form the logo, but it could have been cool maybe to see this gorgeous piece evolve over time through the different variants, from origins to its eventual completion. But nonetheless, this is absolutely stunning work, and for me truly encapsulates what the mantra of ITV Creates is setting out to do. But now we must move forward to week 3 of January, and our featured artists and variants of that week, James Brunt.
Good morning and welcome to a brand new week on ITV, where we've got another fresh look for you with resident artist James Brunt taking on the challenge. To find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, with the latest news and entertainment at 6 o'clock, it's time to say, Good Morning Britain.
They drive us round the bend, cause councils a headache and ruin our cars. Pothole Wars investigates, Tuesday night at 9. Now, Jackpot 24/7. The Love Your Home and Garden team come up with a radical new layout for wheelchair users Nina and Steve. That's tonight at 8 here on ITV. Now though, The Jeremy Kyle Show. Tackling our biggest household expenditure, insurance. The Martin Lewis Money Show is tonight at 8. Now, before Good Morning Britain's live at 6, here's The Jeremy Kyle Show. Well, Jen received some shocking news and David and Karen were at loggerheads. What do you mean you missed the start of New Cold Feet? Well, don't worry, last night's episode's on ITV Hub right now.
Getting in touch with nature on this one. This landscape created by James Brunt is truly a delight to look at. Right away you're treated to a leafy landscape filled with all sorts of colours you'd expect. Eventually we see the ITV logo formed very carefully out of different selections of these leaves, and I can only imagine the time and effort that must have gone into crafting these so that they were just right for the camera to pick up. So from a time perspective, massive props to the artist. Part of me wishes that we were seeing this actually outside in some sort of forest or wood or something, but I imagine due to the ever-changing conditions of our weather here in the UK, and the time it must have taken to get this made in the first place, that option was pretty impossible. Nevertheless, it's another stunning piece of artwork that has been made with care, hours of work, and above all, passion and love. Another winner for me for this set. But now, we must look to our final set that graced us in January, from resident artist Patricia Volk.
Welcome to another week, and we have another fresh look for you now on ITV, with this week's resident artist Patricia Volk taking on the challenge with her ceramic creations. Find out more by searching ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time for Good Morning Britain, as Susanna Reid, Piers Morgan and Charlotte Hawkins help kickstart your Monday.
Per Jenny Pete's preoccupied with helping the troubled Evan in New Cold Feet. The gang are expecting you and I at 9 tonight. Now though, David and his den of dealers pitch up in Liverpool, searching for Dickinson's real deal. Our money guru Martyn Lewis is looking into insurance tonight. Home, car, life. Of course, it's one of the biggest household expenses. Join him for the Money Show at 8. Now taking us through Monday lunchtime on their 20th year of being on air, it's the Loose Women. Your favourite bunch of friends are back in the telly tonight and they're expecting you to be here. Join Adam, David, Jenny, Pete and Karen for New Cold Feet at 9. Ruling on more real-life cases now on ITV, it's new Judge Rinder. Bradley Walsh is here at 5 this afternoon with another new episode of The Chase. And we're kicking off the afternoon of quizzing on ITV right now as we light up the drop zones and join Ben Shepherd to play Tipping Point.
We're on a mission to save some cash in 2019. With loads of advice, the Martyn Lewis Money Show is tonight at 8. More quizzing now from The Chase.
More of an artsy set of idents, I say. The focus here of Patricia Volk's work is the ITV logo, displayed by a number of ceramic pieces. And whilst the first few variants reveal the ITV logo we know and love, some of the later variants go for a more experimental view. I really like the ones that shows the pieces all clumped together and joined up, because even though you can't clearly make out the standard ITV logo, you can still somehow get what it is and what it gives off. To me, it gives off a sense of unity, of togetherness, of collaboration, which once more echoes the ethos set up by ITV Creates. Not my personal favourite set from January, but a striking and memorable set nonetheless. So those were your 4 sets for January. Yes, I know the 5th set technically debuted in January, but it's crossing into February, so we'll save that one. The 4 sets we've covered today all prove that the concept behind ITV Creates works. 4 different artists creating 4 completely different styles of ident sequences. Everything from projections, to ceramics, to leaves, and to layers upon layers of material. Each one of these does something different and leaves its own stamp for the channel. So for the ITV Creates initiative, it's a worthy and strong start, and I can't wait to see what February gives us, and hopefully, neither can you. ITV Creates is an initiative launched by the channel in 2019, its aim being that every week a different artist will contribute their own unique individual take on the ITV ident and overall presentation. So as we move into March, let's have a look back as to what February had to offer, with our first artist of the day, Mark Titchner.
Welcome to another week here on ITV, and we've some good vibrations for you courtesy of our resident artist Mark Titchner taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, with all the very latest from around the world, it's your Mondays. Good Morning Britain.
Our favourite money-saving expert will be busting the myths on student finance and revealing the hidden costs of going to university. That's the Martyn Lewis Money Show, brand new tonight at 8. But now here's Philip and Holly to kickstart your week with a jam-packed show on This Morning. Which breed of dog will be crowned the nation's favourite? The vote's now open at itv.com/vote, where you can have your say, and all will be revealed in Britain's Top 100 Dogs 2019, live here on ITV tomorrow night at 7:30. Now, Loose Women. Can a team of 5 nurses top the Tower of 10? Warwick Davis is here this afternoon at 3 with the brand new series of Tenable. But now on ITV, all rise for Judge Rinder. And now on ITV, can a team of 5 nurses score that perfect 10 and walk away with some big money? Time to join Warwick Davis now for the brand new series of Tenable.
Olympic boxing champion Nicola Adams tells Piers and Susanna about preparing for her first full professional world title fight now on ITV. Here's Good Morning Britain.
Well, this one almost seemed a little mythical. Serious, when I saw the first variant, it looked like a mass cauldron, but instead of bubbling liquids, seeing all those coloured rock particles come together really gave me that sort of mythic vibe. However, the real cleverness behind Mark's idents in particular comes from their formation via the use of vibrations, a very technical method of shaping these small rock-like particles, but seeing it all come together to form the ITV logo at the end is truly quite satisfying to watch. I also like how, from aside some variants where we simply see the logo form, we also get a sequence where we partly see Mark in the creative process of bringing his idents to life, and it truly is quite fascinating to watch. I would love it for ITV to release a sort of extended, behind-the-scenes look at some of the making-ofs of these idents for sure. So that was a strong start for February. Let's see what the next artist was able to come up with, and that artist is Katrina Russell-Adams.
Good morning everyone, and as a new week dawns, we have another fresh look here on ITV with resident artist Katrina Russell-Adams taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now time to join the gang to kickstart this Monday on Good Morning Britain.
Davina's back on ITV with a brand new series of This Time Next Year, and she's kicking off with a weight loss special tomorrow night at 8. Now prepare yourself for the ultimate shepherd's pie, proper comfort food, and of course last night's Dancing on Ice gossip with Philip and Holly on Mondays this morning. Corrie fans love Monday night on ITV because we're in Weatherfield at 7:30 and 8:30. Paul shocks Gemma when he shows his true colours in the first ep tonight. Now, after her exit from last night's Dancing on Ice, Sarah Khan is back on the panel with her sisters, the Mighty Loose Women. 5 friends from Glasgow are taking on another top 10 list challenge with Warwick Davis and New Tenable in an hour at 3. But first, we're off to ITV's court with Judge Rinder.
Okay, not to knock any creative talent, but these ones come across as a little dull for me. There are many positives to them. They're nice and bright and colourful with lots of moving parts that give across a sense of intricacy. But beyond piecing these things together into the ITV logo, there's not a great deal more to keep viewers hooked on the process of what's going on. I can't quite decide what these pieces are made of. Is it a sort of foam or lightweight material? That's my biggest curiosity with this one. But beyond that, out of the two we've looked at so far, I think I can safely say I prefer Mark Titchner's work. But that's not to knock Katrina, as I'm sure some of you guys watching will love these. Now then, let's move on to our third instalment of ITV Creates for February, with the new artist being Kristina Veasey.
Well, as a new week dawns here on ITV, we have another fresh look for you with resident artist Kristina Veasey taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, with all the very latest from around the world, it's your Mondays. Good Morning Britain.
Brand new weekdays starting today at 2. Take a tasty trip around the UK with James Martyn's Great British Adventure, now on ITV this morning. Join James Martyn as he starts his foodie tour of the UK and the Orkney Islands. New series James Martyn's Great British Adventure begins at 2 here on ITV. Now, after her Dancing on Ice exit, Gemma Collins is here for Loose Women.
Peter's got some news tonight and Abby's a bit gutted. Coronation Street's here in half an hour. But first, it's Emmerdale. With lots of tips on saving you some pennies, the Martin Lewis Money Show's coming up in half an hour, right after Coronation Street.
Again, these ones don't quite do it for me. Like Katrina's work before, these idents are nice and bright, colourful. I love all the different types of pattern work that have been used within creating the look and feel of these sequences. But ultimately, aside from a neat looking chair that I wouldn't mind placing in my home, there's nothing overwhelmingly featured that's going to entice audiences to take much notice. And maybe thinking about it, maybe that wasn't the intention. Sometimes artists want to make a piece of work and not wish to hook audience attention necessarily. If that was the intention here, well, you've succeeded in my opinion. But as I say, some of you may adore these idents by Kristina, and the elements it does well, it does really well. So definitely not the worst set of idents I've ever seen, not by a long shot. Now for our final set of idents for the day, let's take a look at the efforts put forward by artist James Alec Hardy.
A very good morning from everyone here at ITV, where we've another fresh look for you this week with resident artist James Alex Hardy taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. And it's time to kick off a brand new week with the best way to start your day, with the latest news and entertainment. It's time to say, good morning, Britain.
Can our lovebirds Adam and Karen keep a lid on their new relationship? Find out tonight at 9 in the series finale of Cold Feet. Now we're live with This Morning. Chef James Martyn continues his Great British Adventure in Lancashire today at 2 as he visits a buffalo farm with top local chef Lisa Allen. Time now on ITV for Kerry Katona and Gabrielle to join our loose women. Who is taking on the Tenable Tower today? We'll find out in an hour's time when Warwick Davis is your host. First on ITV, James Martyn's culinary road trip leads him to a Lancashire brewery now on his Great British Adventure. All new questions from Ben Shepherd. He's here in an hour with new tipping point. And you don't have to wait that long for the quiz questions. Here's New Tenable now on ITV. When do you buy your travel insurance? Martin Lewis has some tips on his money show in half an hour. First, Peter's burnt boat is still taking up space on the cobbles of Coronation Street.
This must have been one giant safety hazard to put together. Just look at all those wires and extension plugs. Good job they had a huge studio to film it in. But I think this might be my favourite bunch of February. The use of TVs to convey different imagery and colours that all seamlessly blend while showing the ITV logo is a very neat concept design. I especially love the sequences where it goes into a sort of night mode, because then the colours and light that this piece can emanate really gets the emphasis it deserves. And even the small shots of seeing James, presumably it's him, making those final tweaks and putting together his art installation really adds a nice touch. If ITV Creates has done one thing well for the most part so far, it's by showing the creators of these sequences, previously unsung and unshown heroes, who get the chance to create something that potentially will stick in our hearts and minds for a very long time to come. So overall, what did I make of the February bunch of ITV Creates? Well, I think overall I slightly prefer what January had to offer across the board, but that still doesn't mean that these are worse in comparison. There are some strong ideas and choices here, and each piece from the 4 artists this month in one way or another has lots of artistic merit to it. At the end of the day, like with any idents covered on this show, what's being said here is purely my subjective opinion. But it's nice to see that after 2 months of the initiative, the creativity still seems to be flowing, so I'll be interested to see what March has in store for us in the coming weeks. So ITV Creates enters its 3rd month. Over January and February, we've taken a look at many of the new creations from various artists, with many of them being superb from a concept and design point of view. So let's see what the artists of March can deliver to audiences. Starting with our first of the day, Alec Stevens.
Good morning, and as a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Alec Stevens taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time for all the latest from the Oscars with Piers and Susanna. Here's Good Morning Britain to help kickstart your Monday.
Davina McCall and Nikki Campbell are here tonight with a one-off long-lost family special using DNA to find the answers to lifelong questions. Born Without Trace is at 9 o'clock. But now back and raring to go, it's Philip and Holly with This Morning. The biggest game show in the world is back here on ITV for 5 nights only, and yes, Jeremy Clarkson is the man with the questions. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire starts next Monday at 9. Now though, time to join the ladies this lunchtime for your Mondays. Loose Women. Find out what happens when 5 celebrities eat nothing but junk food for 21 days. Brand new, the Junk Food Experience, Wednesday at 9. Well, from junk food to some cultural classics now as we join James Martyn on his Great British Adventure.
Are things getting out of control between Debbie and Kane? We're about to find out in our Monday evening visit to Emmerdale.
Okay, well I've got to say, to start this off, I'm feeling quite underwhelmed. Now to talk about the positives, I really like the whole wood carving motif that Stevens has gone for, and for the different light angles projected on it, it gives it quite a nice effect. But beyond that, nothing really happens. Granted, yeah, we still get a small clip of him piecing the logo together, but it just seems minimalistic to the point of someone just piecing a few things together and then saying, alright, that's that then. I feel this ident set would have benefited hugely from just something extra being added to it. Not even anything necessarily wacky or big, just something more than what we have. So, sadly not one of my favourites, but I'm sure it will have its fans. Now then, for our next artist of the day, let's take a look at the work of Charley Peters.
Good morning. As a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Charley Peters taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now it's time to kickstart your Monday with Good Morning Britain.
The Coronation Street siege continues tonight as Fiona faces the mother of all choices. We're in Weatherfield at 7:30 and 8:30. In fact, the actress who plays Fiona, Julia Goulding, joins Philip and Holly now with PPI and Dancing on Ice, also on the menu for today's This Morning. There's amazing scenery and delicious cuisine as James Martyn visits the southeast and the county of Kent in his Great British Adventure at 2. Wait till you see his bread and butter pudding with cherry compote. Yummy. Monday lunchtime now with The Loose Women. The Kyle Files return with a new series investigating landlords who offer free accommodation in return for sex, tonight at 8. And we're off to the southeast now as James Martyn continues his Great British Adventure. It may seem easy when you're sat watching at home, but it's a different thing entirely when you're under those blazing studio lights and standing in front of Warwick Davis. Let's see how today's contestants get on playing tenable.
See, now this for me is minimalism that works amazingly well. The first one surprised me a little, being that the final image seems so far away, but there's something very appealing about a box of colour being visible far away in a vast array of blackness. The others are more close up, and it's hard to tell, but it almost looks like there's an element of a classic TV test card within the artwork, which I think is really nice, and if so, it's a nice nod to television history. The random splash of colours still manages to look gorgeous to the viewing eye, and again, it's nice to see Peters actually in various stages creating her artwork. Overall, for as strange as this one might seem, I really do enjoy it. It's colourful, brimming with detail, and doesn't need to do a lot to get the imagination thinking. Right then, moving onwards to our next featured artists, we have the idents born from the mind of Isabel and Helen.
Well, good morning everyone, and as a new week dawns, we have another fresh new look here on ITV with resident artists Isabel and Helen taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, time to join the team to kickstart your Monday on Good Morning Britain.
Get ready for your new obsession. Our brand new edge-of-your-seat drama, Cheat, starts tonight at 9 on ITV. And its star Catherine Kelly is in the studio with Philip and Holly now, on Mondays This Morning. Ben Shepherd will be firing up the machine as more contestants play Tipping Point at 4 o'clock. But now on ITV, Mark Wright tells us why he left his life in the LA sunshine behind as he joins the Loose Women. Our brilliant new drama, Cheat, starts tonight at 9 on ITV and continues across the week. But right now, we're in the courtroom with Judge Rinder.
I can't wait to get gripped by that new drama, and it all begins tonight at 9, continuing till Thursday every night at 9 here on ITV. That's new Cheat. Time now, though, to find out if Pete can win back Rona in Emmerdale.
A very interesting concept design, that's for sure. So it seems very simple. The fact that several white spheres being held by string help give the ITV logo some animation when knocked against each other. And when looking at it, both when it's static and when it's moving slightly, I must say it's very satisfying to watch. Like it should be on one of those mindfulness or relaxation compilations. Aside from that central gimmick, of the spheres knocking each other around, there's not that much more to say here. I would be partly tempted to say that a splash of colour might have added to the overall theme, but the more I think on it, ultimately the use of just black and white creates a wonderfully stark image that works well enough. So overall, a very good effort from Isabel and Helen. Nicely handled, ladies. So now let's crack on to the next artist in our list today, and that artist is Bharti Parmar.
Good morning from us all here at ITV, where we've another fresh look for you this week with resident artist Bharti Parmar taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. But now, with all the very latest news from around the world, it's your Mondays. Good morning, Britain. The Kyle Files is back tonight, looking at the UK's relationship with booze. That's here at 8. But now, in his day job, it's your Mondays, Jeremy Kyle. Can they get it together for one last big match? Hoping to rally the troops, we've Harry's Heroes tonight at 9. Right, I'm putting my feet up now and handing over to the Loose Women. Looking at the country's relationship with booze tonight, it's the Kyle Files at 8. Brand new cases in court now with Judge Rinder.
As Underworld's workers protest, tragedy strikes at the factory tonight at 7:30 and 8:30 in an unmissable night in Coronation Street. First, drama in Emmerdale.
Seems like March is the month of simplistic yet eye-catching designs. Like some of the others we've looked at today, on the surface there isn't a great deal to talk about. However, I do like how the handcrafted nature of this ident package does show, especially when we see Parmar piecing her creations together, and some corners look a little unpainted or unfinished, but I would hazard a guess that that may have been the intention. Overall, the pattern work and different kinds of designs is quite nice to look at, and whilst it may not be the most complex or in-depth of idents, it certainly still does retain an appeal that I'm sure some of you lot will be drawn to. Now let's move on to our last but certainly no means least artist of the day, and that particular creative is Adam Nathaniel Furman.
Good morning, and as a new week dawns, we have another fresh look here on ITV with this week's resident artist, Adam Nathaniel Furman, taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time to join Susanna, Piers and the team for Monday's Good Morning Britain. This lunchtime, 80s idol Paul Young joins our Loose Women. That's today at 12:30. And with more great guests now on ITV, from Uri Geller to Roger Daltrey. Here's Holly and Philip with This Morning. A dispute with a dog owner and a breeder gets emotional in new Judge Rinder today at 2. Time for a lunchtime catch-up with our Loose Women now on ITV and guest Paul Young. It's all about that big money counter. Could you do better than our contestants? We'll find out when we play along at 4 with New Tipping Point. Overseeing more real-life cases from the courtroom now on ITV, it's new Judge Rinder.
Now on ITV, after Gareth Southgate's side got off to the perfect start by beating the Czech Republic at Wembley on Friday, can they make it 6 points out of 6 tonight? It's Montenegro v England in the Euro 2020 qualifier, live.
Well, this certainly blew the simplistic style out of the water, didn't it? This by far is the most complex looking, most intricate ident of the March batch of ITV Creates. The stripes and cobbled together towers of ITV logos give off a very cluttered but manically creative impression, and almost has a sort of Willy Wonka vibe, that this is something you'd definitely see somewhere in the chocolate factory. I like how it's not just one central tower either, and that several smaller towers adorn the sides of it, almost like they are smaller towers protecting some sort of grand fortress. If I had to criticise one thing about it, it's that I'm not really a massive fan of the colour scheme Adam has decided to use, but that's honestly down to personal preference if nothing else. The pink smattered with blues and yellows just doesn't work well with me, but again, I'm sure many people would adore a colour scheme of this kind. Overall, definitely my overall favourite of the month of March, and one that I'm sure will go on to be one of my highlights of the year. So how do we summarise March of ITV Creates? Well, I think for the most part, the undying winner in terms of themes seemed to be simplicity. A lot of artists this month went for seemingly simple concepts or designs, with most of them being eye-catching or striking enough to withhold the attention of the viewing public. One thing I've discovered in between making episodes is that ITV themselves are releasing each week little interviews with the artists regarding their work, and they're only a couple of minutes long, so if you're curious, check out those behind the scenes videos on the ITV YouTube channel. So if last episode we reached our quarter milestone, now we've reached a third of the way through the year of ITV Creates. The first 3 months have all yielded some impressive concepts, designs, and most importantly, creativity. Well, now let's see what the month of April had in store for us viewers, and we will start with the work of our first artist of the day, Olly Fathers.
Monday morning on ITV, and we're kicking off a new week with another fresh look on the channel, with resident artist Olly Fathers taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. 6 o'clock now, with the latest news and entertainment. It's the best way to start your day. Good morning, Britain.
The Loose Women will be here at 12:30, but now on ITV, Sir Tom Jones joins Philip and Holly ahead of the Voice Grand Final this weekend, on Mondays this morning. The Rogue Landlords are in for a grilling from JK tonight. The Kyle Files investigates the terrible living conditions and the tenants fighting back at 8. Now on ITV, Katie Price and her mum Amy join the ladies today. It's Monday's Loose Women. More contestants are ready to take on the Tenable Tower, coming your way in an hour on ITV, after we hit the courtroom with Judge Rinder.
We're on the cobbles in half an hour, but will Carla confess? That's Coronation Street here, right after Emmerdale.
I must say this is a contender for my favourite set of the year so far. Honestly, there's so much to see here, and its formation is extraordinarily cleverly implemented. So it seems to be some sort of paint trickling down a set of structures to eventually showcase and form the ITV logo. And watching this liquid travel around is not only extremely relaxing and satisfying to watch, but it really makes you appreciate the sheer amount of time and effort that Olly must have put into making this all work correctly. Also, when we see the full zoomed out picture, to me it almost resembles some sort of elaborate climbing frame, which, if they ever built something like that, I would love to have a go on. So overall, this is an absolutely fantastic start to the month of April for ITV Creates. Props to you, Olly. But now we must move on to our next featured artist of the month, and that artist is CJ Mahony.
Monday morning now on ITV, and we're kicking off a new week with another fresh look on the channel, with resident artist CJ Mahony taking on the challenge. If you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. It's 6 o'clock now though, and with the latest news and entertainment stories, here's the best way to start your day. It's Good Morning Britain.
It's estimated to be worth a massive £3 billion and is almost entirely unregulated. Tonight, the Kyle Files investigates the business of facial aesthetic procedures at 8 o'clock. But now here's Ruth and Eamon to kickstart your week on This Morning. There's 10 grand up for grabs if any of today's players can get that jackpot counter over the edge in New Tipping Point this afternoon at 4. But now it's time to join the ladies live for your Mondays, Loose Women. From the writers of The Missing comes a brand new drama to ITV tonight for the next few weeks, The Widow, Mondays and Tuesdays at 9. Now though, here's Judge Rinder.
Looks like someone's out to get Carla when we head to Weatherfield for Coronation Street in half an hour on ITV, after Dawn finds herself the prime suspect now, in Emmerdale.
A very impressive structure to say the least. Big structures actually so far seems to be the running theme of the month. This one by CJ Mahony gives me a sort of Wicker Man vibe, the idea of a tall, imposing wooden built structure. I appreciate the craftsmanship that must have gone into putting this one together, but aside from the brief glimpses of its formation and seeing the final image, there doesn't seem to be a great deal left to entice and to get the viewer truly noticing these idents. Don't get me wrong, this is still a fab piece of art here, but for me at least, it just needed that little bit of something extra to truly make it stand out amongst all the other designs and sets that we're going to be getting throughout the year, Speaking of other designs, let's take a look at a batch from our next featured artist, Fiona Grady.
Good morning. As a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Fiona Grady taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now let's kickstart the new week with Good Morning Britain. The Kyle Files investigates the massive rise in knife crime tonight at 8, but now on ITV, it's over to John and Rochelle for Mondays This Morning. Overseeing more real-life cases in the courtroom, all-new Judge Rinder will be here at 2 this afternoon. But now on ITV, Natasha Kaplinsky joins the ladies today to tell us all about her new project and rubbing shoulders with George Clooney on Monday's Loose Women. Warwick Davis puts more contestants' top 10 knowledge to the test in Tenable at 3. Right after we head to the courtroom now on ITV, it's all-new Judge Rinder.
Imran's interrogated by police in half an hour in Coronation Street. But first, here on ITV, Jacob's driven to desperate measures in Emmerdale.
I feel that this set is very interpretable. It goes for a sort of stained glass window approach, which when you view it is quite a stunner. The colours really do pop off the screen, and the sheer amount of them is very appealing to the eye. The triangles themselves almost remind me slightly of the coloured parts of the V in ITV, that was used by various stations on the channel throughout the 1990s. But that could just be me searching for a very loose link. Now, usually some might expect me to argue that this rather simplistic set also needs that something extra, but actually I think this one works great just the way it is. It's one of those that achieves a lot by doing very little, and even though it's not one of my standout favourites, it's pleasurable enough that I find it engaging with every different watch. Plus, I'm sure some of you lot watching will really enjoy this set too. But now we must journey forward to our last, but by no means least, set of the day. And this one comes from featured artist, Laurie Nouchka.
Welcome to Easter Bank Holiday Monday morning, and as a new week begins, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Laurie Nouchka taking on the challenge. If you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. And it's the best way to start a brand new week now, with the latest news and entertainment, and with the first family of Towie dropping in for a chat on Good Morning Britain.
Our brand new drama, The Widow, continues tonight and tomorrow night, and heading home drags up bad memories for Judith. Don't miss it, here at 9. Now though, just the thing for the perfect Easter Monday. It's This Morning. There's big drama for the next 2 weeks in Emmerdale, and it all starts tonight at 7. But now, crack open another egg and pop your feet up. It's the Loose Women. Alan and the team are back tonight, working their magic. It's Love Your Garden at 8. But now, laying down the law, it's Judge Rinder.
Sarah finds out who Gary's loan shark is, and she is not happy. Coronation Street's on the way this Easter Bank Holiday Monday in half an hour, after we start an earth-shattering week in Emmerdale now on ITV.
I kind of have mixed feelings towards this set. On the plus side, I like the fact that Laurie has made the ITV logo very colourful and varied in its design, and that there's a lot of detail to be found once you look into the artwork itself. But on the other hand, I already feel like I've seen this kind of approach in ITV Creates several times by now. A plain black and white background, just a simple standing ITV logo with either some colours or artwork applied on it. Again, it's not a detriment to Laurie's talent, as with any set, this one will have its fans. But for me, I just feel we're starting to run into a few similarities in terms of the creative concepts that people are dreaming up for ITV Creates. So sadly ending this one on a bit of a lower note, but of course you have to remember, all of this is just my own opinion. Let me know what yours is down in the comments. Overall, for the month of April, it's been a very mixed month. We started with big, bold and intricate designs and then slowly transitioned into simpler ones, where some work really well for me and others don't. And whilst the month has showed off another brilliant stream of creativity from every artist involved, I do worry we are starting to hit that creative roadblock. But you never know, I'm sure by the end of May there'll be a whole new host of idents for ITV Creates that will surprise me and hopefully surprise you too. So 5 months into the concept, ITV Creates has truly given us so many different, varied and ultimately unique ident concepts that really impress and stand out in the viewing eye. We've got 5 different sets to look at today, so let's jump right into our first one, designed by resident artist Caroline Wright.
Good morning from us all here at ITV. And as a new week dawns, we've another fresh look for you with resident artist Caroline Wright taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, it's time for your Mondays. Good morning, Britain.
Georgia prepares to finally learn the truth about what really happened, but is she ready for what she might find? The Widow continues tonight at 9. But now we're live with Philip and Holly to kickstart the week on This Morning. It looks like Georgia's getting closer to the truth, but will she be ready for what she might find? Our gripping thriller, The Widow, continues tonight at 9. But now time to join the ladies live for your Mondays. Loose Women. Now armed with a gavel and his razor-sharp wits, the king of the courtroom's ready to deal with more disagreements in today's Judge Rinder.
Toya points the finger at Nick when Coronation Street's here at 7:30. First though on ITV, Kim's delighted by a new development. Here's Emma Dale.
Well, that's a satisfying way to start the episode. Whilst when watching these at first, it could be argued that there really isn't that much to rave about, and design-wise it's extremely simplistic, just consisting to tubes moulded to the ITV logo, with then coloured liquid being applied to give the whole thing a bit more colour in general. But where I think this succeeds is how satisfying it is to watch in process. Seriously, it's like one of those compilations of things that are satisfying to view, really calming and quite relaxing. There's a few brief shots amongst the different variants that imply or even show different colours besides the red, yellow and blue that we predominantly see, and I wish with each of the 5 variants maybe different colours could have been selected, or maybe even different colours all mixed together, but in all fairness, this for all its simplicity is a nice way to kick off the month. Let's see what our next resident artist came up with, so here is the work of Rubbena Aurangzeb-Tariq.
Well, good morning to you all and thanks for joining us this Bank Holiday Monday. And as a new week dawns, we've another fresh new look for you from our resident artist Rubbena Aurangzeb-Tariq taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now let's get the week off to a great start as we join all the gang on Good Morning Britain. They're back to raise awareness for such an amazing cause by taking all their clothes off. The all-new Monty Who Bears wins here on ITV tonight at 9. But now this Bank Holiday Monday, we're live with Rochelle and Eamon for This Morning. Another group of male celebrities are put through their paces in the all-new Monty Who Bears wins tonight at 9 o'clock. Such a great cause. But now on ITV, we're live with the Loose Women. Find out if the people of Blackburn take the cash on the table or gamble at the auction in Dickinson's Real Deal this afternoon at 3. The courtroom's where we're heading now, though, for today's Judge Rinder.
Wearing nothing but their hearts on their sleeves, we've Alexander Armstrong, Love Island winner Jack Fincham and a host of stars as you've never seen them before. The all-new Monty is tonight at 9. Now on ITV, Revelations in Emmerdale.
Certainly a very poignant set of idents. Now these were cleverly designed and broadcast on what is known as Deaf Awareness Week. So instead of the standard ITV logo, instead we have 3 sets of hands, all forming each corresponding letter. Such a simple and to the point way of supporting deaf awareness without necessarily needing to go all out guns blazing. I also adore the colour scheme on these variants. The different shades of blue and purple correspond with each other so nicely that it almost makes you think you could take these idents and frame them on your wall. Again, like the previous set we saw, it's quite simple, but as I said, for the purpose it's promoting, I think it works beautifully. So massive props to both Rubbena and ITV for promoting a great cause like this. Moving on now, let's see what we have next with resident artist Liz West.
Good morning and welcome to a brand new week where we have another fresh look for you on ITV with resident artist Liz West taking on the challenge. If you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, it's the morning after the night before with all the BAFTA gossip and of course the latest news and entertainment. It's 6 a.m. and time to say, Good morning Britain.
Looking at life inside Buckingham Palace during her reign, we've documentary Victoria's Palace for you tonight at 9. Over to Philip and Holly now for your Mondays this morning. We've documentary Victoria's Palace for you tonight at 9. But now, time to catch up with the loose women. It's their day in court now, but will they be happy with the ruling? It's Judge Rinder.
Time to head to the Dales now on ITV as Belle prepares for a party. And we've seen some viewers may find distressing now. Here's Emma Dale.
Okay, this is definitely my favourite of the month so far. There is so much to like about this creation. First off, I absolutely love the design that Liz has gone for. All of these shiny coloured circles pop right off the screen and actually remind me or make me think of an album cover that an act like the Pet Shop Boys may dream up. Secondly, I think out of all the idents we've had so far as part of ITV Creates, I think this is one, if not the best one, that showcases the creation of the sequence itself. To see glimpses of how Liz put together these idents is truly fascinating, and to see it all pay off and play out is another satisfying watch. So, to take simplicity, add tons of colour, and to show us how it's all done, definitely has this set in particular as my favourite of the month, and one of my favourites of the whole year so far. If you love it like I do, then do remember to check out ITV's own video, which shows the behind the scenes of not just Liz's work, but of all the artists of ITV Creates. Right then, moving forwards, let's take a look at our next set of idents designed by resident artist Gayle Chong Kwan.
Good morning. As a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Gayle Chong Kwan taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, let's kickstart your Monday with Good Morning Britain.
BAFTA-winning screenwriter Jeff Pope tells the story of Hatton Garden, the crime of the decade, over 4 nights. Starting tonight, set a reminder for 9. And we're live from Television Centre now on ITV with Holly and Phil for Mondays this morning. David enlists Ryan's help and Jacob makes a discovery in the little village with big drama at 7 tonight at Emmerdale. Now on ITV, I'm sure the ladies will have something to say about Eurovision, and ahead of our new drama Hatton Garden launching tonight at 9, Ross Kemp joins Mondays. Loose Women. BAFTA-winning screenwriter Jeff Pope tells the story of Hatton Garden, the crime of the decade, across 4 nights. It stars Timothy Spall and Kenneth Cranham, and it kicks off tonight at 9. Now on ITV, we're off to court for Judge Rinder.
Steve's got some explaining to do tonight as we head to Coronation Street at 7:30 and 8:30. Now though, it's Emmerdale.
Simplicity is definitely running strong throughout the month of May. Gayle's work here takes a lot of plastic bottles, essentially a lot of our waste that we throw out, and instead turning it into a huge ITV logo sculpture. It's certainly impressive to see how it's all been placed together, and to observe all the different details and intricacies of each bottle. But for me, I'm not sure, there just seems to be something a little lacking across this one. It's not terrible, not at all, but for me it really lacks that gut punch an ident can need to really hook viewers and to install something that will be remembered. The concept and the design is wonderful for sure, and the meaning behind it is brilliant, but in terms of an actual sequence, it all just feels a little underwhelming. But of course that is just my opinion, as I'm sure there'll be loads of you who love this. Now however, we shall move forwards to our final ident set of the day, created by resident artist Florence Mytum.
Good morning and welcome to ITV. And as a new week dawns, we've another fresh look with our resident artist this week, Florence Mytum, taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time to kickstart your Bank Holiday Monday with Good Morning Britain.
Well, they came in their thousands to audition, but now we're down to the final 40 acts, and it gets serious tonight as the live shows get underway on Britain's Got Talent. It all starts here on ITV at 7:30. Now, though, here's Ruth and Eamon with This Morning. Well, it all gets serious tonight when the first 8 acts perform live for the first time in the first semi-final of Britain's Got Talent here on ITV at 7:30. Time now for your Mondays, Loose Women. Now this Monday lunchtime, a look at the stories making the headlines with the very latest ITV News. Now on ITV, here to deal with more disagreements, it's our very own king of the courtroom, Judge Rinder.
Fair to say if you don't like the colour green, then you won't like this set. I, however, quite like the abundance of the colour green here. Not only do the different shades complement the whole set very nicely, but I like how each different letter of the ITV logo has been built in a completely unique way. With all of the individual materials and arrangements, it's honestly something I could see at home in some sort of grand art exhibition. Not necessarily one of the most groundbreaking or even most standout idents of ITV Creates in my opinion, but I can certainly see how it would nab people's attention, and I'm sure there will be some viewers who will remember this one for years to come. So in terms of closing the month of May, I think Florence's work is striking, memorable and ultimately unique, just like the whole purpose of ITV Creates set out to be. Overall, ITV Creates throughout May has gone for simplistic concepts, often executed in brilliant, subtle and powerful ways. From a set promoting deaf awareness, to an array of colourful circles, to showing how our wasted plastic can be used, or showing how water and liquidised colour meld together, and of course a love letter to the colour green. Each of these different sets has had a unique quality about them, and at the end of the day, as I said before, that's exactly what ITV Creates is all about. Letting individual artists show off their unique talents, ideas, and their imaginations. So we're amazingly halfway through the year 2019, and the end of another month means we have to take a look at another batch of idents from the ITV Creates initiative. So kicking off the month of June, let's take a look at the work of resident artist Greta Davies.
Good morning. As a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Greta Davies taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, it's time to kickstart your Monday with Good Morning Britain.
With the groundbreaking series returning tomorrow night, some famous friends reminisce tonight in 7up and Me at 9. Now though, it's your Mondays, This Morning. We've followed them since they were young, and tomorrow night they turn 63. Looking back at the series so far tonight, we've 7up and Me at 9. Chat time now with the Loose Women. Another team take on the mighty Tower this afternoon as Warwick returns with Tenable at 3. Now though, with all the very latest from around the world, it's the ITV Lunchtime News. Warwick and his fabulous puns are back this afternoon. It's Tenable at 3. Now though, it's Judge Rinder.
A very colourful start, if not a little underwhelming. I like how the colours have been arranged and stylised here by Greta and her team, and the final image we're presented with equally looks very appealing to the eye, but I just wish we got to see this final image at different angles or in different colour schemes or something like that, because whilst it may look nice initially, to essentially see the same thing with very minimal changes wears a bit thin as the variants go on. Again, this is just my opinion, and it isn't to take away from the wonderful design done by Greta, but I just would wish for something a little extra with this set. Let's move on now through to our next artist to be featured in June, introducing the work of Rabiya Choudhry.
Welcome to Monday Morning on ITV, and we've got another fresh look for you this week with resident artist Rabiya Choudhry taking on the challenge. Now, if you want to find out more and hear from the artist herself, all you need to do is search ITV Creates. Now though, at 6 AM it's time to catch up on all the latest news and entertainment, and I'm pretty sure Piers will have plenty to say about his remarkable Michael Barrymore interview. All on Good Morning Britain.
Davina McCall and Nikki Campbell are back to help more families reunite in the brand new series of Long Lost Family here on ITV tonight at 9. But now here to take us through to lunchtime, it's Philip and Holly with your Mondays this morning. Well, your lunchtime with us here on ITV continues now with some lively debate and plenty of Monday fun as we join the ladies live for Loose Women. A dodgy landlord or a nightmare tenant? Judge Rinder's here to decide who's to blame this afternoon at 2. But before we head to the courtroom, a catch-up of all the stories making the headlines this Monday with the very latest ITV news. Well, the judge can offer his advice, but it's up to them to take the cash on the table or gamble at the auction. It's Dickinson's Real Deal this afternoon at 3. But first, we're heading to ITV's courtroom for today's Judge Rinder. Bradley welcomes 4 new players to take on the Quiz Genius this afternoon at 5 in the Chase. But now time to join the Duke and the team in Northampton for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Certainly a very interesting concept for an ident set. Almost immediately, seeing a flag on ITV reminded me of the Anglia ident that used to be played, the one with the knight and the horse. I'm sure those of a certain age will remember that one. But what I like about this one in particular is that the different little bits and pieces of iconography that we see within the flags. Little things like love hearts, lightning bolts, what look like faces, it's all interesting to stop and have a deeper look as to what it actually is making up, which is the familiar ITV logo. So even though some would view this sequence and see nothing more than a flag billowing in the wind, if you just take a few seconds to see what adorns them, then I would argue that you would find the whole thing a lot more interesting visually. If I could ask for anything more, it would maybe just be even more variety, more different flag colours, some more bits of iconography for us to recognise. But let's see if this positive trend continues with the work of our next resident artist today. So here is the work of Carleen de Souza.
Well, welcome along, and as a brand new week dawns, we've another fresh look for you now on ITV, with this week's resident artist Carleen de Souza taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time to join the team for Monday's Good Morning Britain.
Now it's over to Philip and Holly for your Mondays this morning. We're in Emmerdale tonight, but can Victoria forgive Robert? We shall see at 7. Now though, pop the kettle on, make yourself comfy. Let's catch up with the Loose Women. Looking for justice this afternoon. Judge Rinder's here in half an hour. But first, with all the very latest from around the world, it's the ITV Lunchtime News. There's a few surprises in store for our dealers this afternoon. Real deals here in an hour. But first, laying down the law, it's the judge.
Well, I absolutely adore this particular set. Right from the get-go, the grid structure and purple lighting gives me that classic 80s vibe. It's honestly lit so beautifully, it almost feels like a piece of art you could hang on your wall. The ITV logo is lit with a perfectly contrasting yellow hue that just helps it shine so brightly and prominently throughout the set, without completely taking away all of the impact of what's around it. Also, what I think helps this one compared to the previous two is the focus on different approaches and angles. We get to see around this miraculous landscape from several different perspectives, and it just helps make the whole set a lot more eye-catching and engaging to the viewing eye. I would happily try and recreate this, which I think is another strength of the concept and design. Whilst it looks fantastic, it still somewhat maintains that feeling that it has been homemade to a degree, something that any person could aspire to build themselves. Honestly though, if ITV decided to make this their main ident for their evening block of programming, I would be in full support. So from me, a massive well done to Carleen for outstanding work. Definitely my favourite of the month of June so far, and one of my favourite ident sets from the initiative as a whole. But enough gushing, let's move on to look at our final resident artist work for today, and that is the work of Sargent and Sears.
Well, a very good morning to you all, and as a new week dawns, we have another fresh new look here on ITV with resident artist Lindsay Sears taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, this Monday morning, time to join all the gang to help kickstart your week on Good Morning Britain. Well, just when John thinks he's achieved his dream of reuniting his family, a mysterious woman arrives to threaten to break them all apart when new drama Beecham House continues tonight at 9. But now here's Philip and Holly to start the week on This Morning. The arrival of a mysterious woman throws the household into chaos tonight and threatens to break the family apart when new drama Beecham House continues at 9. But now on ITV, the ladies are here to get the week off to a great start on Loose Women. Now let's see what stories are making the headlines this Monday lunchtime with all the very latest ITV News. We're back in 18th century Delhi tonight, where a mysterious woman arrives and threatens to break the family apart in new Beecham House at 9 o'clock. But now on ITV, we're heading to the courtroom for today's Judge Rinder.
Probably the most intricately designed ident set of all ITV Creates so far. Honestly, the attention to detail here is absolutely stunning, and the general concept that has been crafted here is truly wonderful. To take an idea as old as this and yet be able to make something so intricate, it's stunning to watch. It's another one of those sets that you could stop for a few seconds just to truly appreciate every little inch of detail that has been put into the work. The ITV logo flashing on and off the TV screens, the parts of the wall moving up and down. Honestly, just rewatch these sequences a few times to absorb all of the detail. You ain't going to be disappointed. I would also say this is one of the most rewatchable ident sets from ITV Creates, and I would actually place it as another overall favourite of mine from this whole initiative. The only little criticism I could have is that I wish we saw even more of the creative process, more of the step-by-step work as to how this was pieced together from the beginning. But aside from that, a truly stunning piece of work that will surely go on to be remembered for years to come. Overall, how did June fare in the grand scheme of ITV Creates? In my opinion, pretty damn well. Even though I gave the first two sets a bit of flack for not having enough variety or enough different viewpoints to try and maintain viewing interest, they still had really intriguing and eye-grabbing concepts to at least get us looking up from our smartphones. But for me, what made June such a successful month was the final two sets that we looked at. For me, they just sum up what ITV Creates is all about. The stunning colours, the grand-looking set pieces, the attention to detail to the minutest point. It's admirable, it's eye-catching, it's great to watch, and I honestly hope that when ITV Creates comes to an end, that these two sets in particular aren't forgotten and are preserved in some way, as they are truly some of the best idents from across all channels of 2019 so far. Another month, another round of brand new idents for us to delve into. ITV Creates has concluded its 7th month, and hopefully, like the 6 months before it, July will be home to some brilliantly original, fantastically created sequences. Only one way to find out. Let's get cracking on them with our first few variants of July, created by resident artist Yvette Hawkins.
Good morning. As a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Yvette Hawkins taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, after that scorcher of a weekend, it's time to kickstart your Monday with Good Morning Britain.
Katie Tunstall searches for her birth father tonight as she joins Nikki and Davina in the new series of Long Lost Family here at 9. Now kick-starting your week, it's This Morning. We're in Emmerdale tonight and Victoria has to face one of her greatest fears. That's here at 7. Time to pop your feet up now and catch up with the Loose Women. With a look at all the very latest from around the world now, it's the ITV Lunchtime News. Tonight, with their first celebrity search, Nikki and Davina help Katie Tunstall find her birth father. It's Long Lost Family at 9. It's over to the Duke now for Real Deal.
A very interesting way to kick things off. First off, I love the whole concept Yvette has gone for. a style of origami where several smaller pieces of work are joined together to ultimately form the ITV logo. And if you take the time to look at each individual piece, you'll see remnants of a map. And if you take a look at the behind the scenes video of this set, Yvette herself explains how this motif represents the unification of people, despite their geographical differences. I also really enjoyed the colour scheme for this set, the red background blending perfectly with the colours of the origami, without totally overshadowing it, as red so often can do. I would argue, at least for me personally, that this set isn't going to be one that I remember instantly when I think of ITV Creates, but it still definitely is a winner, and I'm sure it will have its fans. Now then, let's move along to the work of our second resident artist today, Julia Vogel.
6 a.m. Monday morning, and welcome to a brand new week. We're here on ITV. We've got another fresh look for you with resident artist Julia Vogel taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Kickstarting your Monday morning now with the latest news and entertainment, it's time to say good morning, Britain.
Make sure you stick around and join the Loose Women live from 12:30 with today's guest Emmerdale's Fiona Wade. But first, Philip and Rochelle are here to kickstart this brand new week with a jam-packed show on This Morning. Davina McCall and Nikki Campbell are back tonight here on ITV with more amazing reunion stories. The brand new series of Long Lost Family continues at 9. But now Emmerdale's Fiona Wade is today's guest, joining the ladies to start the week on Loose Women. The dealers will be assessing items brought in by the people of Hartlepool in half an hour, but will they take the cash on the table or gamble at the auction to get the real deal? Find out at 2, right after the ITV lunchtime news. Warwick Davis welcomes a team of fish and chip shop workers to take on the Tower this afternoon. See how they get on in Tenable in an hour. But first, we're in Hartlepool for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
This one for sure gives me that art installation vibe. Once again, like the previous set, the colour scheme used here is absolutely gorgeous. Taking a more rainbow themed approach, but positioning the individual colours in a way that really makes each one pop out from one another. I also really like the actual artwork on each of the paints too, although I would have liked some more variety in each of them. I can understand that by doing this it may have made the zoomed out image through the ITV cutout look a bit strange or incorrect. However, I'm sure there would have been some work way around it. Having said that, it's still a really nice piece of artwork, even if I think it would be better placed as an installation in an art gallery as opposed to being broadcast on the telly. I feel the impact would be greater seeing this piece in real life, but still, that's not to take away from Julia's artistry. Next up for the day, let's take a look at the work presented by resident artist 121 Collective.
Good morning. As a new week dawns, we have another fresh look on ITV with resident artist 121 Collective taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time to kickstart the new week with the team on Good Morning Britain.
Davina McCall and Nikki Campbell are back tonight at 9 with more amazing reunion stories in Long Lost Family. But now Ruth and Eamon are here to take us through to lunchtime, kicking off this brand new week on This Morning. Davina and Nikki help more families reunite in a highly emotional episode of Long Lost Family tonight. The new series continues at 9 o'clock. However, your lunchtime with us here on ITV continues now, live with the Loose Women. 5 old schoolmates from Dover will be joining Warwick later to try and score the perfect 10. See how they get on in Tenable at 3. But now a look at all the stories making the headlines this lunchtime with the very latest ITV News. See if 5 old schoolmates from Dover can start the week with a big money win in Tenable this afternoon at 3. First on ITV, Dickinson's Real Deal.
This has that classic sense of Britishness about it, I think. There's just something about the way this structure has been designed that makes me feel like I could view this piece at a British seaside. The sign underneath the ITV logo that says On Sea further reinforces my view here. I love how you could pause this sequence and just look over every last little bit of detail that has been placed into the structure, all the different parts that make it up and the different elements that make it tick. My main criticism would have been that it would have been absolutely amazing to see a different structure with each variant. I know that that's an incredibly huge ask because, let's face it, the amount of time this must have taken to create and put together must have been immense. So to expect them to do that 4 or 5 times over is maybe a little bit much. However, for what it is, it's truly a stunning piece of work. Again, not one that I would remember instantly, but one that if I did come across, I would look back on and watch fondly. Probably one of the best structures that we've seen across all of ITV Creates so far. Finally, to round off today, let's take a look at the work of our final residential artists for July, Emily Downing and Olivia Weston.
Morning and welcome to a brand new week where we've got another fresh look for you on ITV with resident artists Emily Downing and Olivia Weston taking on the challenge. And if you'd like to find out more, all you need to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. So we're getting straight into Monday morning now with the best way to start your day. With the latest news, sport, entertainment and weather, it's time to say, good morning Britain. Join Nikki and Davina for more remarkable searches as the new series of Long Lost Family continues tonight at 9, including the bride who has put her wedding on hold until she finds her birth mother. Back to This Morning now on ITV, quite literally, with Eamon and Ruth. In the last year, over 4,000 people from across the UK have contacted the Long Lost Family team, asking to help find missing family members, including a bride who has put her wedding on hold until she finds her birth mother. You can see that search for yourself at 9. Right now, it's Monday's Loose Women. Time to catch up on the top stories making the headlines at home and abroad now this Monday lunchtime with the very latest ITV news. The new series of Long Lost Family continues tonight with a wedding on hold until the bride finds her birth mother. Join Nikki and Davina at 9. Back to this afternoon and we're in Milton Keynes now for Dickinson's Real Deal.
Sadly, I find this one a bit of a lacklustre ending. The motif used here is that of henna art, where intricate patterns and designs are painted onto people's hands and arms. It's an art form I think is really beautiful, and indeed the patterns look really nice here, especially when they come together to form the ITV logo. But aside from that central concept, there's nothing much else to keep or hook the interest of those watching. Sure, we see snippets of the artist applying the henna to various hands, and I always like seeing behind the scenes in these clips, as it gives us some insight into how the artists work. But there's no real variation between different sequences, no new colour schemes added or twists in designs. I just wish there was something more within each of these to help me remember the sequence as a standout. There's still some great work from the two artists, and that work shouldn't be discredited, but for me, it's definitely not a favourite, or one that I'm likely to remember as the months go by. Overall, July I feel has been a very mixed month for ITV Creates. There are some really strong standouts such as the work by Yvette and her use of origami, and the 121 Collective with their infinitely detailed beach-like structure. But there are also those that don't land for me quite as well. Julia's work is beautiful, but I feel is better suited to be observed for real in art galleries, and Emily and Olivia's henna work, although stunning in its own right, seems limited in terms of the variation shown. However, all 4 of these artists show, as ITV Creates artists generally do, their unique take, perspective and interpretation of what ITV is supposed to mean. It does stand for independent television after all, supposed to represent us all, and for these artists to let us into their creative worlds and show us what they view that as, continues to be just as fascinating more than halfway into the initiative. We've come to the end of August, the 8th month of the year, meaning that it's time for the 8th round of ITV Creates idents to show themselves and prepare themselves for review. So without any time wasting, let's take a look at the first set today that has been created by resident artist Brandon Saunders.
Jason here, wishing you all a very good morning, and as a new week dawns, we've another fresh new look on ITV with resident artist Brandon Saunders taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, time to join the gang to help kickstart this brand new week on Good Morning Britain.
Spice up your kitchen with some island inspiration as Ainsley's Caribbean Kitchen is here tonight at 8. Now let's join Eamon and Ruth with This Morning. Later today, David presents highlights of some great moments on the show, including the junk shop bargain fetching a big fee at auction. Dickinson's Real Deal is here at 2. Now though, let's join the lovely Loose Women. David presents highlights of some of the great moments of the show. Dickinson's Real Deal will be here in half an hour. Now though, with the headlines, it's the afternoon news. Warwick Davis will be giving contestants a chance at winning a big reward. Isn't he kind? Tenable is here at 3. Now here on ITV, let's join David for Dickinson's Real Deal.
I would have loved to have designed something like this when I was a kid. I love the whole motif that Brandon has gone for with this set. The idea of circuits and different materials all joining together, not only to form the ITV logo, but also to create energy and power. The intricate ways in which this must have been created really fascinates me, and if you can access them, definitely check out the behind the scenes on this one, which you can find on ITV's YouTube channel. If I could offer any criticism, it would maybe be that it would have been cool to see different finished designs, but I can also understand how that would have taken a lengthy amount of time, considering what we get is already elaborately designed. A student of Newcastle University, I think it's fair to say that Brandon has done them proud, with a strong first set for August. Let's move on and see what our next resident artist brings to the table, with the work of the BA Honours Fine Arts course from the University of Bournemouth.
Good morning, and as a new week dawns, we've another fresh look on ITV thanks to artists on the BA Fine Art course at Arts University Bournemouth who are taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Time now for your Monday's Good Morning Britain.
She'll be getting the flutters on this morning at 10:30. Love Island's Maura Higgins is on the show later. That's after Judge Rindanell on ITV. After last week's devastation in Emmerdale, can Kerry and Amy live with their guilt? Find out tonight at 7 as Priya and Jay get suspicious. Time for a live lunchtime catch-up with Loose Women now on ITV. The village must learn to cope without Frank tonight at 7 in Emmerdale. As Priya and Jay get suspicious, can Kerry and Amy live with their guilt? Time for the latest now, though, with the ITV News. A family of 5 from Lincoln take on the tricky lists of 10 in the hope of winning the top cash prize. Tenable is at 3, first we're in Carlisle for Dickinson's Real Deal.
Okay, this one is a really mixed bag for me. Whilst I really like how these guys have incorporated things like light and dark and a little shadow play, what we actually see in these sequences I think is a little lackluster. Sure, in some of the clips we get to see them applying their designs to the billboard, but I would have loved to have seen what these designs were like in much more depth. The final image, yes, is a stunner, and I love how brightly the ITV logo shines amongst everything else, but again, I just feel like these sequences are missing something. The teamwork aspect from this lot is admirable, and I do like the collaborative effort, but I just feel there isn't enough within it all to maintain an audience's full interest. Nice visually, but lacking a little on the fine details. Let's head swiftly onwards now to our next resident artist of the day, Ash Kaiser.
Well, morning and welcome to a brand new week where we've another fresh look for you now on ITV with work from Ash Kaiser, an MA Graphic Arts student from the University of West England. And if you'd like to find out more, all you need to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Kickstart your Monday morning now. Here's Good Morning Britain.
Davina and Nikki will be catching up with more reunion stories in new Long Lost Family What Happened Next tonight at 9. But now it's over to Ruth and Eamon to kickstart this new week on This Morning. Well, Jessie's behaviour leaves some in the village a bit shocked tonight when Nicola gives her a few home truths in Emmerdale at 7 o'clock. However, your Monday lunchtime with us here on ITV continues now, live with the Loose Women. David and the team are in Cambridgeshire this afternoon where a Tudor ring attracts the attention of dealer Alison Chapman. Dickinson's Real Deal coming up at 2. But first a look at all the latest ITV lunchtime news. A mixed team of teachers and firefighters join Warwick this afternoon to try and score the perfect 10 and walk away with a nice few quid. Tenable coming up in an hour. But first we're off to Cambridgeshire for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
I think this set is absolutely superb. Honestly, for such a simple concept and design, the whole notion of stacks of blocks ultimately forming the ITV logo looks remarkably stunning. The different colours, the way the camera pans so we gradually see the logo both come together and unfold, and just also the unexpected angles. The top-down shots, for example, angles where we don't see the ITV logo itself, but we get to see the scope and range of these blocks and just what they could form or be made to represent depending on how we look at them. To think how long it must have taken Ash to put every single block into its specific place to make it all work makes it even more admirable. And like Brandon's work earlier, I believe Ash does his university proud with his efforts here. Out of the 3 so far, I would argue this is my favourite set of August. But now let's see if that can be challenged by our next resident artist, Erin Taylor.
Jason here, your announcer for the day, wishing you all a very good morning. And as a new week dawns, we've yet another fresh look on ITV with resident artist Erin Taylor from the Manchester School of Art taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now time to head to the studio where the team are waiting to help kickstart this brand new week on Good Morning Britain. Loads to talk about with the ladies this lunchtime. Join the Loose Women live from 12:30. But until then, here's Ruth and Eamon with This Morning. The man with the best job in telly heads to Barbados tonight, where he'll be cooking swordfish and lobster on a beautiful beach. Lucky fella. Ainsley's Caribbean Kitchen is at 8. Now on ITV, we're live with the Loose Women. Well, you know the score by now. They can either take the cash on the table or gamble at the auction. This afternoon at 2, it's Dickinson's Real Deal. But now a look at all the latest ITV lunchtime news. Another team will be joining Warwick this afternoon to see if they have what it takes to top the tower and walk away with a nice few quid. Stay with us for Tenable coming up in an hour. But first, it's over to the Duke and his dealers for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Sadly for me, this one comes off as a little underwhelming. I like the use of the materials, how they've been applied, and how they eventually move around the ITV logo, giving it a sense of life. However, for me at least, there's nothing more than that to hook my interest, and after a few seconds, after I've clocked what the concept is and what's going on, there's nothing else there to keep me hooked in. No finer details as such to delve into, just what you see is what you get. And to be clear, that is not to detract or take away from Erin's work, which I can see has the effort put into it, and as I say, when you see it all in action, it does look appealing to the eye, but I just wish there was something more to keep me watching for more than a few seconds. Also, this is a very personal nitpick, but when the material blows to reveal the bare parts of the ITV logo, that sort of ruins the illusion for me. If the whole thing had the material there even when subject to it being blown, that would have worked better, but again, that's just my personal opinion. Alright, one set left, so let's take a look at the work of our final resident artist today, and that is Emily Forgot.
6 o'clock and welcome to Bank Holiday Monday morning on ITV, where we have another fresh look for you this week from resident artist Emily Forgot taking on the challenge. If you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, we're kickstarting a brand new week with the latest news, entertainment, sport, and of course, weather. It's time to say, Good Morning Britain. DCI Barnaby's reliving his glory days as he tries to solve a murder at the local rugby club at a brand new feature-length episode of Midsummer Murders at 8:30 tonight. Bank Holiday Monday morning now, live from Television Centre. It's This Morning with Eamon and Ruth. DCI Barnaby's reliving his glory days as he tries to solve a murder at the local rugby club at a brand new feature-length episode of Midsummer Murders at 8:30 tonight. And we're going back down memory lane now on ITV just ahead of their 20th birthday. It's a Loose Women Bank Holiday Monday special. We're heading off to the north coast of Wales and to the seaside town of Prestatyn with the Duke, looking for Dickinson's Real Deal at 2 here on ITV. First though, time to catch up on the top stories making the headlines at home and abroad this Bank Holiday Monday with the latest news and weather. Warwick's testing our contestants' knowledge on capital cities and Robert De Niro films in Tenable at 3. But to the Welsh seaside we go now with the Duke and his team looking for Dickinson's Real Deal.
A strong contender for my favourite of the month. Emily's work here is absolutely amazing to look at. It actually at first gave me a vibe of the old Play School episodes with all of the different shapes cut out like arches, circles and squares. The colour scheme works beautifully, and that's big coming from me as green is far from being my favourite colour. I also love looking within the cut out parts to see what's inside them, and again, the attention to detail within them is so impressive. I even like the little swing that we see Emily set into motion in one of the clips. It really goes that little extra mile. If I could offer any sort of criticism, I would probably have added even more little intricate details within the logo, whether they be little characters or more set pieces like the swing, just that bit extra to really give viewers something to truly sink their eyes into. But even then, there is still plenty to be viewed with this ident set, and even though I earlier claimed that Ash's work was my favourite, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Emily. Truly stunning sequences, beautifully crafted and thought out, and one that I can see being one of the more memorable idents of this whole initiative. Overall then, how did August shape up for ITV Creates? Well, pretty well I think. Considering a lot of this month's sets came from university students, it's brilliant to see that the creative impulses of the current generations are truly alive and kicking. Whether it's cleverly implemented designs such as Brandon's work, or simple but detailed like Ash's, each of these says that this month, despite any flaws or faults, has something worth talking about, and that's always a good start. What did you think of August's offerings in terms of idents? Let me know in the comments below. So we're 3/4 of the way through the year, and we are on to our 9th batch of uniquely original idents to represent ITV in 2019. If you've watched previous episodes, you'll see the true breadth and variety that this initiative has given us as viewers, and here's hoping it will go on. But without any more hassle, let's go on to our first featured artist for September. And that artist is Florence Blanchard.
Good morning and welcome to Monday here on ITV, where you might have noticed we have another fresh look for you this week with resident artist Florence Blanchard taking on the challenge. If you want to find out more, just search ITV Creates for all the details. Now time to kickstart the new week with Good Morning Britain.
The lovely loose women are here at 12:30 to discuss the latest topics. Now though, let's welcome back Holly and Phil with This Morning. David and the team are in Peterborough, and Simon has his eye on a nice bracelet as Dickinson's Real Deal is here later at 2. Now though, let's join our loose women. We've got fancy bracelets and unusual desk sets as David and the team are over in Peterborough in Dickinson's Real Deal in half an hour. Now with the afternoon headlines, it's the ITV News. Warwick has played a hero in Hollywood, and later he's your host, as Tenable will be testing your general knowledge skills in an hour. After Dickinson's Real Deal.
A nice and simple one to kick off with. What I like about this set in particular is how when the camera pans back, we see all these individual segmented pieces almost joined together seamlessly for one complete image. The colour schemes used are really nice too, though a touch more colour wouldn't have gone amiss in my opinion. I like the different kinds of styles as well that are branching off from the main ITV logo. Although I would argue the sequences here aren't strong enough to be memorable to viewers beyond some initial viewings, however, the artistry and creativity behind this is quite stunning. So well done to Florence for kicking off September. Now on to our next featured artist of the month. Here is the work of Russell Bamber.
Welcome to Monday morning here on ITV, and another fresh look for you. This week from our resident artist Russell Bamber. And if you want to find out more about the artist, just search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time to get the latest news and all today's hottest topics with the team on Good Morning Britain.
The search for Sean continues as Martyn Freeman stars in the next episode of our unmissable new drama, A Confession, tonight at 9. Now on ITV, let's start a new week with Philip and Holly on Mondays This Morning. Some war medals catch the dealer's eye in Coventry in Dickinson's Real Deal at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Now on ITV, Emmerdale's Gaynor Faye joins the ladies for Monday's Loose Women. We're joining David and the team in Coventry for Dickinson's Real Deal in half an hour. That's after the latest headlines this Monday lunchtime in the ITV News. Warwick Davis is ready with his top 10s when more contestants join him to play Tenable in an hour. But now on ITV, the dealers are in Coventry today for Dickinson's Real Deal.
This one definitely benefits from being seen from multiple angles. The initial sequence using a top-down view does show off the ident, again a very simple structure and concept, but the other sequences where we see the logo from the side, or being polished, or even being assembled, that's where the fascination stems for me. The pieces almost seem like huge pieces of metal, and to find out more I would definitely recommend checking out the behind the scenes video for this set, which you can find on ITV's YouTube channel. Overall, I don't have much more to say on this one. It does look nice, if a little too disjointed, but again, like Florence's work before, I would argue it's nowhere near enough to truly maintain or sustain the viewer's interest. It's certainly not one I'm going to really remember in a month's time. Anyhow, let's keep on moving and check out the work from our next resident artist for September, and that artist is Louise Bristow.
A very good morning from everyone at ITV. It's David here, introducing another fresh look for the channel, with this week's resident artist Louise Bristow taking on the challenge. If you want to find out more, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, at 6 o'clock, it's time to kickstart your Monday morning with Good Morning Britain.
Speaking to Tom Bradby about his time in office, the former Prime Minister David Cameron breaks his silence. The Cameron interview is tonight at 8. Now on ITV. All rise for Judge Rinder. Bradley's joined by more contestants far braver than I am as they take on The Chaser in an all-new episode of The Chase at 5. But now on ITV, Martyn Clunes joins the ladies for your Monday dose of Loose Women. Time to get the latest stories making the headlines this Monday lunchtime in the ITV News. It's the big episode tonight where everything changes and things take a real turn for DS Vulture. Our new drama A Confession continues at 9. Now on ITV, we're in Lancashire today for Dickinson's Real Deal.
Now this is a definite winner here for me. What I love about Louise's work here is that the idea of taking all sorts of random objects and structures and mashing them all together to form the final ITV logo. It really is stunning to see it in full and then to admire all the different individual pieces that have gone into its creation. It almost reminds me of that feeling when you're in primary school and you're tasked to make like a model town or village out of cardboard or other random items. And with that attitude in mind, this one definitely succeeds in being interesting to the eye. Brilliant in its concept, watchable on repeat as there are always new details to spot when different angles are viewed, and it just really is a triumph in ident design. If ITV were only to keep a handful of ITV Creates idents on air once this all ends, I would want this sequence to be one of them. Superb work, Louise, definitely my favourite of the month so far. Now then, let's move on to our final resident artist of September. So here is the work of Yinka Ilori.
Welcome to Monday morning here on ITV, and we've another fresh look for you from this week's resident artist Yinka Ilori. And if you want to find out more about Yinka, just search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, time to get the very latest news and all today's hottest topics with the team on Good Morning Britain.
Good morning. More Rugby World Cup action coming up in an hour here on ITV when Wales open their campaign against Georgia. That's live from 10:25. First though, courtroom dramas with Judge Rinder. Eddie Jones's men are back in action this coming Thursday in England's second game against the USA. Make sure you're with us for that one here on ITV live Thursday morning from 11. Now a look at all the latest lunchtime news. Warwick Davis welcomes another team to try and top the tower this afternoon. That's Tenable here on ITV at 3 o'clock. But now the Duke and the Dealers are in Uxbridge in Middlesex for today's Dickinson's Real Deal. Kicking off the week with a big money win is what Bradley's team will be hoping for this afternoon. See how they get on in brand new The Chase at 5. But now on ITV, can this team of tram workers from Sheffield score the perfect 10? Here's Warwick with Tenable.
A nice detailed set of sequences to finish on. Now with Louise's work, I compared that to being in primary school making model towns in arts and crafts. This ident set from Yinka makes me think of being in high school and in design technology, crafting all sorts of more advanced models. This looks like it could be easily made by anyone, but Yinka has done a brilliant job at adding the unique style, different kinds of artwork, and patterning on the individual letters of the ITV logo, which is the prime example. Parts even move, namely the dot above the eye of the logo, adding to that feel that this is a mechanical piece of work. If I could offer any criticism, I would have loved to have seen even more moving parts to this ident. That would make it even more interesting and detailed to the viewer in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, with what we have here, it's still a superb example of some unique originality, and some clever engineering. As I've said before, it's a nice little way to close off September. Overall then, how does September stack up in ITV Creates? Well, I would say it has some great highs and some great lows. The first two sets were really good in their own ways, but ultimately in my view not memorable enough at all to stick in the minds of viewers, whereas the final two sets, by Louise and Yinka respectively, are two prime examples of what ITV Creates is all about grabbing artists and harnessing their own personal talents, styles and creative vision to create sequences that are not only interesting, but that inspire viewers and maybe potential designers to get up and make some of their own unique work themselves. As October concludes after Halloween night, we have another wondrous batch of idents to delve into from ITV and its resident artists. This is the 10th month of the initiative, and if you've been following my look at each month, you'll know there have been creations which I've absolutely adored, and some that I think are less than stellar. So let's crack into October and see which way the pendulum swings this time, with our first resident artist of the day, Fernando Lepos.
Jason here, wishing you all a very good morning. And as a new week dawns, we've another fresh new look here on ITV, with this week's resident artist Fernando Lepos taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, time to join all the team to help kickstart your Monday on Good Morning Britain.
Scotland take on Samoa this morning. We've the Rugby World Cup live here from 10:25. First though, it's Judge Rinder.
Adam works to convince Ryan to betray Gary in half an hour when we're back in Coronation Street. First, Moira and Nate live dangerously. Here's Emmerdale on ITV.
Another team take on Tenable in an hour, but first on the hunt for a Bobby Dazzler, it's Dickinson's Real Deal. Ben Shepherd's back this afternoon, but will the machine pay out? Oh, I hope so. Tipping points here at 4. First, it's Tenable.
Well, I think we're off to a strong start. There's so many elements to love about this ident, one of them being the choice of colours. Red and blue do make purple, of course, so to have these three individual colours fill the ITV logo looks glorious to the eye. The effect employed as well almost feels like a modern redoing of the classic paint ident that BBC Two fronted for so long back in the 1990s. There's just something extremely satisfying about watching liquid fall into or out of place to form something cohesive. And the ITV Creates theme of showing briefly how the artists themselves make the sequence is always a nice touch. If you're able to watch it, this is one set of idents where I would watch the behind the scenes video that ITV will have on their channel. So congrats Fernando, kicking off the October batch in strong form and style. Let's see how our next artist's work stacks up as we take a look at the work of Stuart Robinson.
Jason here, wishing you all a very good morning. And as another new week dawns, we've another fresh new look here on ITV, with this week's resident artist Stuart Robinson taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now, time to join Pierce and Susanna to help kickstart this brand new week on Good Morning Britain.
It's the final episode of our critically acclaimed drama A Confession tonight, but will Halliwell get away with it? That's here at 9. Now though, laying down the law, it's Judge Rinder. On the hunt for a Bobby Dazzler this afternoon, the Duke is back with Dickinson's Real Deal at 2. Now though, put the kettle on. It's chat time with the Loose Women. Will the dealers flash their cash today? We're in Corby with Dickinson's Real Deal at 2. After the ITV Lunchtime News. A team of firefighters tackle the tower this afternoon. They join Warwick for Tenable in an hour. But first, we're in Corby with Real Deal.
Something wonderfully simple about this one, I think. On the surface, the first few clips just show it for what it is, the ITV logo looking very different, but shown off simply and effectively by these brightly coloured light structures. These things are something you could envision in someone's house. Maybe I'll get them for my house. But things for me really get interesting when we see Stuart rearranging the pieces, leaving us in one clip with a logo that doesn't even resemble the letters ITV, never mind the overall logo. But I think it still looks fantastic, and it's a great thing to play around with, messing with what audiences expect and presenting a finished structure that may still be odd to the viewing eye, but is still very interesting to look at and to analyse. If every ident from ITV Creates incorporated this approach for one of their clips, that would have been absolutely brilliant, a running concept to look at and see what artists do differently in rearrangement. Nevertheless, I really like Stuart's work here. Certainly another strong effort. Let's see if things continue in a strong manner, with some idents now from our next resident artist, Naomi Lekmeyer.
Good morning, it's David here on ITV welcoming you to Monday morning and introducing another fresh look for the channel with this week's resident artist Naomi Lekmeyer taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, at 6 o'clock, it's the best way to start a brand new week with the latest news, entertainment and weather, all for you here on Good Morning Britain.
Alison Hammond meets Angelina Jolie on the show today. That and loads more coming up with Philip and Holly on This Morning from 10:30. First though, it's Judge Rinder. David and the team are in Milton Keynes this afternoon, where items brought to the table include a pair of cufflinks, a silver belt and one lucky seller's watch. Dickinson's Real Deal coming up at 2. But now on ITV, we're live with the Loose Women. Of Milton Keynes bring their treasures to the table this afternoon, including a pair of cufflinks and one lucky seller's watch. Very nice. See what they sell for in Dickinson's Real Deal at 2. But now it's the latest ITV news. 5 family members from Dunstable join Warwick this afternoon to try and score that perfect 10. See how they get on in a brand new episode of Tenable coming up in an hour. First, we're off to Milton Keynes for Dickinson's Real Deal.
I do like this set in many respects, but I also find it a little dull. Let's talk about the good first. I love the standing image of a painted ITV logo on some gravel, with the paintbrush laying by it. It's a superb resting image, definitely worthy of a frame. I also like the overall concept of how the ITV logo has been replicated almost as if it were a freshly painted set of yellow lines on a road, leaves brushing by and all. It certainly is a very relatable concept, an image where we can all watch and point out the similarities to what we see and identify in daily life. But sadly, all that seems to happen in terms of what we are offered is a few shots of it either being painted or just the resting image. And whilst it is a great image and is very watchable, the overall appeal can wear thin a little quickly. At least that's what it does for me as a viewer. I'm sure some of you lot will love it, but I would be interested to know in the comments what you make of this one, and all of the sets we look at today. So whilst I do admire Naomi's work in terms of the concept and how it's been pulled off, sadly for me it's definitely the weakest effort of the 3 we've looked at so far in my opinion. But now we must move on to our next resident artist of the month, so let's have a look at the creative works of Neon.
Welcome to a brand new week where we've got another fresh look for you on ITV with work from Neon. And if you'd like to find out more, all you need to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. We kickstart your Monday morning now with Good Morning Britain.
Chef John Turode, singing Vixen and Chase star Jenny Ryan and action hero Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're all here for This Morning at 10:30. First, all rise, it's Judge Rinder. Find out where today's Real Deal is at 2 with David Dickinson and the team. But now on ITV, Corrie star Katie McGlynn shares how Sinead's storylines are saving lives. Plus, Danny Dyer joins us now. Here's Loose Women. David's helping the public get the best price for their antiques. Dickinson's Real Deal is on the way at 2. Now the latest with the ITV lunchtime news. Taking on the Tower later, a family of 5 spanning 3 generations hope they've got every topic covered. That's Tenable in an hour. Now on ITV, if only my dusty relics could fetch the big bucks. Here's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Again, there's a lot to like here, but I can't help but feel that something is missing. First off, the work that Neon have presented here is absolutely stunning when it's all put together. The gorgeous blend of colours, the darker, moodier setting, the structure itself and the way it moves about, it truly does look brilliant. However, despite the overall structure, concept and final resting image looking amazing, similar to the set before, it just lacks that final overall oomph in my opinion to really make it memorable or stand out for audiences. I think people will eventually remember this set, if only for its beautiful presentation, but I just think it's one of those sets that will fade into obscurity when it comes to discussing ITV Creates. So once more, absolutely brilliant work in what Neon have created, but sadly for me, it just doesn't quite stack up compared to some of its predecessors. Now then we will move on to our final resident artist today, whose work crosses a little bit into November. So let's take a look at what we have been presented with by Kochi Kochi.
Philip and Holly will be here to kickstart this brand new week on This Morning from 10:30. But first, we're heading to the courtroom for more real-life cases with Judge Rinder. A brand new documentary comes to ITV tonight that charts 1 year in the life of people who live and work on Mount Snowdon, Britain's busiest mountain. The mountain starts tonight at 8. But your Monday with us continues right now with Philip and Holly on This Morning. See what treasures the people of Wakefield in West Yorkshire bring to the table today in Dickinson's Real Deal coming up this afternoon at 2. But your lunchtime with us here on ITV continues now, live with the ladies and your Mondays. Loose Women. Now a look at all the stories making the headlines here and around the world this Monday with the very latest ITV lunchtime news. Tonight, Davina and Nikki find out what it's like to be separated from your closest relative in a long-lost family special, Twins, What Happened Next, at 9 o'clock. But now, David and the team are in Wakefield in West Yorkshire for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Well, this set certainly feels different, I'll give it that. I'm not completely sold on it if I'm honest. I do love the first sections where we see the sky and clouds like ITV logo against a plain white backdrop. However, when it transitions into the more green and black look, I find that really unappealing to look at. I'm not sure if they were going for a day-night themed approach with these, but if that was the case, for daytime they nailed and for nighttime they misfired. If it was meant to be nighttime, then go all out, have lots of black, stars, the moon, anything. I keep rewatching these and I just feel ultimately it feels unfocused. It jumps about here and there and even feels a little disorientating. Not bad work per se, just definitely not for me, and one that I will definitely not remember as the months of ITV Creates continue to roll on. Overall then, how has October stacked up in the grand scheme of ITV Creates? Well, like many months, it's rather hit and miss. The first two sets in particular of October were really strong. Great concepts, looks, sequences, just nearly everything about them was appealing to watch and helped make them more memorable. The following two sequences we looked at also had strong concepts, overall looks, and great final resting images, but they lacked that little extra thing that every ident sequence needs to really give it that final push to make it stick in people's minds. The final sequence just felt a little all over the place. Not much more to say that I haven't already. But like any of these months, it shows that ITV Creates is in a healthy place. The talent is still there, the creativity is still very much flowing, and I look forward to seeing what the final 2 months of 2019 bring to us as viewers. The 11th month of the year has come to a close, which means that we have our 11th batch of idents to gaze upon from the ITV Creates initiative. Will this be a month full of winners, or a less than stellar batch? You're about to find out. And we're going to kick things off with our first resident artist of the day, Joe Taylor.
Good morning, it's David here on ITV, welcoming you to Monday morning and introducing another fresh look for the channel with this week's resident artist Joe Taylor taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Now though, at 6 o'clock it's the best way to start a brand new week with the latest news, entertainment and weather, all for you here on Good Morning Britain. If you love gardening shows and especially Alan Titchmarsh, then you're in for a right treat tonight as he opens the gates to his very own garden. Set a reminder and don't miss 50 Shades of Green at 9. Back to this morning and we're off to court for Judge Rinder. The turfs on Wimbledon Centre Court, Prince Charles's Gardens at Highgrove, and never seen before on TV until tonight. Alan Titchmarsh's very own garden. Set a reminder for 50 Shades of Green, it's new at 9. Right now on ITV, it's time for This Morning. Warwick's looking for top 10 list answers on royal family residences, chemical elements, and the Spice Girls on new Tenable at 3. Time now, though, to catch up with the very latest ITV lunchtime news. Warwick's looking for top 10 list answers on Oscar nominees, Narnia novels, and chemical elements in new Tenable in an hour. But first, the Duke and his dealers are in High Wycombe in Buckinghamshire for today's Dickinson's Real Deal.
A very detailed sculpture to start off with. It may not look like much from afar, but looking at all the intricacies of Joe's work here is really quite extraordinary. This is a structure that any avid ident fan wouldn't think twice about owning and displaying. I wish we got to see even more of how it was made, incorporated into the sequence. However, don't fret. As if, like me, you want to learn and see a little more about how Joe put this together, you can check out the behind the scenes on ITV's channel here on YouTube. Honestly, I don't have a great deal more to say on this one. The different shades of blue are gorgeously blended, the overall image looks fantastic. As I said, maybe a little more emphasis on how it came together, but definitely a solid start for November. Let's see what we get as we continue with our next resident artist, Anna Berry.
Good morning from us all here at ITV this chilly Monday morning. And it's my pleasure to introduce another fresh look for the channel. And this week's resident artist is Anna Berry, who's taking on the challenge. And if you want to find out more about Anna, all you have to do is search ITV Creates for all the details. Back to today, and remember, we've got all new Cash Trapped with the lovely Bradley for you this afternoon at 5. But now, kick-starting your week. It's Good Morning Britain.
Join Bradley Walsh this afternoon here on ITV for a brand new series of Cash Trapped at 5. And we're off to court right now this chilly Monday morning for Judge Rinder. 6 days to go, so exciting. So Warwick, the town, plays host to the Dealer's Den and new Dickinson's Real Deal this afternoon. See what Bobby Dazzlers they uncover at 2. But right now, get the kettle on, grab some lunch and take your front row seat for Monday's Loose Women. Cash Trapped is back with a brand new series this afternoon. Join Bradley Walsh at 5. But now it's time to catch up on the top stories making the headlines today with the ITV lunchtime news and weather. Warwick's looking for top 10 list answers on Prime Ministers, EU countries and films in new Tenable in an hour at 3. But first, Warwick, the town, plays host to the Dealer's Den as we join the Duke, David Dickinson, in search of the real deal.
Certainly a very interesting sequence. On the whole, I do really like what Anna has put together here. The light shades of purple that make up the ITV logo here really do contrast extremely well with the stark black background. I love what almost comes across as flower petals that have been used en masse in order to form the logo in the first place. The element I probably enjoy the most is the fact that we see parts of the logo move once all the petals are in place, giving a sense of organicness to it, almost like it's its own sentient being that is alive and moving. Now, it could just be my eyesight, but when we zoom out to see the final resting or panning image, I struggle to see if any parts of the structure are actually moving, and granted, they may not be, but I think it would have helped create an even bigger lasting impression on audiences, had parts of the logo, or indeed the whole thing itself, been constantly moving or in operation in some way. Still, a very nice effort from Anna Berry. Maybe not one of my all-time favourites this year, but certainly one that isn't forgettable. Now let's pace on forwards and take a look at the work of our next resident artist today, Sam Curtis and Dave Bennett.
Good morning. You might have noticed we've another fresh look here on ITV with resident artist Sam Curtis taking on the challenge this week. To find out more about that, search ITV Creates for more details. Now, time to kickstart your Monday with Good Morning Britain.
Find out how the campmates are settling into those hammocks tonight when brand new I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here continues at 9. We're live now on ITV with Holly and Philip for This Morning. Dickinson's Real Deal is at 2 and 48 model cats land on one of our dealers' tables when the Duke and his team are in Staffordshire to find today's Bobby Dazzler. Time for our first catch-up of the week with Loose Women now, and guests Joey Essex and Corrie's Beverly Callard on ITV. We're off to Staffordshire with David Dickinson in half an hour for Real Deal. First here on ITV, all the latest now with the lunchtime news. New quiz show where no one leaves till someone wins is at 5 with Bradley Walsh. That's new cash trapped. Now on ITV, it's Bobby Dazzler time. Here's Dickinson's Real Deal.
Who doesn't love a scaffolding-looking creation? What the lads have gone for here is conceptually simple, putting a series of pipes and beams together, but the way the overall logo looks at the end is still quite nice. Admittedly, for me at least, the shot has to be at the exact right angle for me to truly see the ITV logo, but the sequence still works. However, it does come across in parts as being ever so slightly dull. I think we should see much more of how the lads put this behemoth of a piece together, as well as maybe some additional details on the logo or even on the background parts of the structure, just to help it stick out that little bit more. Of course, I'm no designer and this is just my opinion, but remember to let me know your thoughts and feelings on what we look at today in the comments below. Overall, Sam and Dave's work isn't to be laughed at. It's still a very decent effort, but for me on the whole, this is one ident sequence that I can see slipping from my mind in a few weeks' time. And with that, let's move on and take a look at the final batch for today, from resident artist, Dan Rawlings.
Good morning, Jason here with you today, and as you've probably noticed, we've another fresh new look here on ITV, with resident artist Dan Rawlings taking on the challenge this week. To find out more, simply head to ITV Creates for the details. Now let's get this brand new week started with your Mondays. Good morning, Britain. The ladies will be here to liven up your lunchtime. Stick around with us here on ITV for Loose Women, live at 12:30. But now they've got loads going on the show today, so let's get on with it and join Philip and Holly for your Mondays this morning. David and the dealers are in Warwick this afternoon. See what treasures come to the table in Dickinson's Real Deal at 2. But now we're live with the ladies for your Mondays, Loose Women. The people of Warwick will be bringing their treasures to the table this afternoon, but will they take the cash on the table or gamble at the auction? It's Dickinson's Real Deal in half an hour. That's right after all the latest lunchtime news. Sanjeev Bhaskar turns quizmaster to host our brand new weekday game show here on ITV. The Switch starts today at 3. But first, we're heading to Warwick to see what treasures come to the table in Dickinson's Real Deal.
A truly stunning bit of work to finish on. We see a glass box adorned with miniature designs, the ITV logo buried within them, and light shines within to create an effect that blows up this structure all around the space. There's something wonderfully atmospheric about it. I'm not sure why, but it made me think that this wouldn't look too out of place in something such as Over the Garden Wall, which is a great show by the way. Also, I'm not sure whether this was intentional or not, but as winter approaches and temperatures start to drop dramatically, a lot of the sculptures within the box almost have a sort of chilled look, almost as if it is anticipating the winter months that lay ahead. If I could offer any criticism at all to this one, I would ask for even more detail. Let's see even more of these smaller things that are within the box, and then we can see that much more when the image is blown up to beam across the whole space. But even with that minor criticism, this is still a brilliant interpretation of what ITV Creates is all about, and I think, personally, this stands as my favourite ident sequence from the initiative in the month of November. Overall then, how did November stack up for ITV Creates? In my view, pretty damn well. Out of the 4 sequences we've looked at today, each of them at their core offered something truly unique, and in some ways, something memorable. We had Joe's gorgeously detailed sculpture, Anna's interesting petal-like moving logo, Sam and Dave's scaffolding behemoth, and Dan's enchanting landscape world. All of these in some small way will initially stick out to viewers. Dan's is my favourite as I mentioned, and probably also would go into my top 10 ITV Creates sequences of the whole year, but even though that one in particular reigns supreme this month for me, all 4 of the sequences this month have been winners to some extent in various respects. November has been a pretty stellar month for ITV Creates, and I know I can't wait to see how December's efforts will close out what has truly been a creative year. So, we are now in 2020, the brand new decade. 2019 was certainly an interesting year, but one of the most inspiring things to come out of it TV-wise has been the ITV Creates initiative. The last 12 months we have seen many idents from a variety of talented artists and designers, and it's only fitting that we close off the 2019 string of idents by taking a look at the last batch that aired in December. So with that, let's take a look at our first ident today, from resident artist Faith Bebbington.
Launching our ITV festive look, this design has been created by artist Faith Bebbington. And look out for more festive takes on our logo coming soon. Tonight we are back with Ant Dec Down Under as I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here continues at 9:10. Now with flashing lights, it's that time for finalists, but who will be crowned the winner? It's the X Factor Celebrity Live Final. And that's one you really don't want to miss. Now from creepy crawlies to smuggling food, what is there not to like? With possible strong language, it's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. More trials, more drama, and always loads of insects. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here continues to push our famous faces to the limit tomorrow at 9. Now though, with very strong language and adult humour, it's the Jonathan Ross Show. Join Julie Etchingham for the ITV election debate tomorrow night at 7. Now this Saturday night, the latest headlines with the ITV News. Catch all of the antics from Down Under as Ant and Dec present the show where celebs are put to their limits. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here is here tomorrow at 9. Now though on ITV, it's Harry Hill with You Being Framed.
A wonderfully beautiful ident to bring audiences into December. Everything about the craft of this piece is absolutely stunning. I love the way the reindeer glows throughout the screen, a bright white light. I love the poses it adopts as they create striking imagery, and the adoption of the ITV logo, mirrored on the antlers, is a very nice little finishing touch. It shows that you can have a sequence with one central image taking all the focus, while still incorporating the channel logo so that it isn't overly dominant or takes away massively from the central icon. My one criticism would be if there was some way to get this thing actually moving, that would have been insane, but I know that is just a super duper nitpick. There is one clip where for a few seconds we actually see Faith putting together her work, and I would have loved to have seen more of that process put into these clips, but you can always check the behind the scenes video on the ITV channel for more footage like that. A fantastic effort here from Faith, a definite December winner for sure. Let's see if our next artist can knock it out of the park, so here is the work of Hattie Newman.
It's that time of the morning, rise and shine for Good Morning Britain.
Our contestants take on the machine in the hope of getting their hands on the big money counter. That's tipping point at 4. First though here on ITV, can anyone survive the switch? Let's find out with Sanjeev Bhaskar. After the success of One Direction and Little Mix, the show's back doing what it does best, bring future stars together. New X Factor, The Band, starts tonight at 8:30. Now it's This Morning on ITV. Can we find the next Little Mix or One Direction? This week, Simon Cowell, Nicole Scherzinger and a host of guest judges search for a brand new pop group, and tonight it's the auditions. The X Factor, The Band is 8:30. Now, Loose Women. David and his team of dealers are in Walsall in half an hour for Dickinson's Real Deal. First though, time for the latest with the ITV Lunchtime News. 4 contestants battle it out to be the contender to take on the switch for a chance to double their prize pot. That's at 3 when Sanjeev Bhaskar turns quizmaster for our new game show. First, let's find today's Real Deal with David Dickinson.
A lovely detailed set piece, that's for sure. Honestly, the work Hattie has put into this mini-city landscape is incredible. I love the colour combinations, the way we eventually see this city from the ITV logo. The lasting image at the end when zoomed out is certainly a strong one. However, the clips where the sequence is just the zoomed out image of the ITV logo and nothing more, I think are a little weak. Don't get me wrong, they're still lovely to look at and could definitely be framed on your wall if you wanted, but once we get closer and see the city, the intricate little details woven all the way throughout, after seeing that, having a clip of just the final image is a bit lackluster in comparison. That is in no way a criticism of Hattie's work, it's more of the team who put the clips together for broadcast. But overall, another mesmerisingly beautiful ident for December on ITV, with lots of details, bright colourful lights, and leaving you feeling all warm and fuzzy, just like Christmas should. Now then, onwards to our third ident set of the day, and this set is from the work of Melanie Tomlinson.
Well, good morning, Jason here, and as a new week dawns, we've another fresh new look on ITV with resident artist Melanie Tomlinson taking on the challenge. To find out more, search ITV Creates for all the details. Now time to join all the team to kickstart this brand new week on Good Morning Britain.
Now here on ITV, winning is the easy part, but can you keep your winnings is the question. It's the switch. The man with the best money-saving tips, the Martyn Lewis Money Show, is tonight here at 8. Now though, let's join Eamon and Ruth with This Morning. The nation's favourite money man will be giving his advice on how to avoid being overcharged by internet providers in the Martyn Lewis Money Show tonight at 8. Now though, let's join the loose women. David and his team of dealers are in Bradford later, and Michael's hoping to take his time on splashing the cash for a gold pocket watch in Dickinson's Real Deal in half an hour. Now though, latest afternoon headlines, it's the ITV News. The game show where winning the money is the easy part, but holding on to it is where it gets really fun. Sanjeev hosts The Switch here at 3. Now though, we're in Bradford for Dickinson's Real Deal.
I mean, it doesn't get much more Christmassy than this. Right from the word go, you instantly start thinking festively, and all the joys that the season brings. My favourite part that I adore is actually the background. I love the way the colours stand out so wonderfully from the white, and it makes you think this is either some sort of gorgeous wrapping paper or a very fancy tablecloth. The ITV logo in this set also does a good job at standing out colour-wise, though I do prefer it when the lids of the 3 letters have been removed and we can see the contents inside. That's a small nitpick, sure, but aside from that, I don't have much else to comment on apart from the fact that I just adore this work here from Melanie. Really captured the festive feeling in a very colourful and interesting manner. Definitely another winner for me. But now, we are coming to our final ident of the day, and will this finally be the time when all 4 sets of idents knock it out of the park? Well, we're about to find out, as here is the work from resident artist Anna Lomax.
Well, a very good morning to everyone. Jason here with you this morning, and I hope you're all having a brilliant Christmas. We've got another fresh new look today with resident artist Anna Lomax taking on the challenge. To find out more, head to ITV Creates for all the details. Now let's get this Boxing Day off with a bang and join all the team on Good Morning Britain. Ed Chamberlain will be live from Kempton Park for your Boxing Day ITV racing from 10 to 1 this afternoon. But now here's Harry with You've Been Framed.
Here tonight, well, it wouldn't be Boxing Day without all the leftovers and a James Bond film. That's Skyfall, here at 8:30. But now, live from Kempton, it's ITV Racing. Now, there's been some corkers over the years. Let's have a look at the best ever finals from Tipping Point. We're in Battersea with Paul tonight, hoping to spread some festive cheer. It's a Christmas special of For the Love of Dogs at 6. But now, it's all about Panto with Tenable. After last night's shock, the street comes to terms with the news. It's Coronation Street in an hour. But first, it's Emmerdale.
Well, if the first 3 sets today made you think of Christmas, this one definitely gets you thinking of New Year. Anna has done a brilliant job here of creating a set piece that looks oh so simple on the surface, but when you see it continue, with the bursting streams of confetti that emit from the ITV logo, not only is it satisfying to watch, but when we get the rapid camera angles and see it all up close, it makes for a cracking sequence. My only major complaint here is the sort of build-up, how in some clips there is either little fanfare or in one case there are no eruptions at all, which could give you the impression that this set is really dull, when that is far from the case. All in all, if you needed an ident that represented a form of celebration, and particularly this year bringing in a new decade, then Anna's work has absolutely smashed it. A very happy new year indeed. So overall, I think you've gathered where I stand on December for ITV Creates. The 4 contributing artists absolutely nailed their briefs, creating idents that evoke both the joy, wonder and warmth of Christmas, as well as the festive celebrations of a new year. I don't think there has been a month throughout 2019 where I thought every set was a bona fide winner, But I'm happy to say December's bunch did it first. What a way to end 2019. And should ITV Creates continue, I can't wait to see what artists bring to the table in 2020. A happy new year to everyone, and thank you for watching us here at the Ident Review. A massive thank you to our producer and director patrons for your support towards us here at AMTV. You just help keep us going, and that's massively appreciated. And that does bring us to the end of another evening here on AMTV. We hope you enjoyed the programme, and we hope to see you next time. Good night.